Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Gopesh Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurani Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Harindiye Vanshankar Pratavudhyasya Kripa Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Okay, so as we witnessed this wonderful Dashavatara Stotra enacted play by the kids, and as we are watching the wonderful drama of Narasimhadev's appearance, and we also had Narasimha Katha from the lotus lips of His Holiness Chandramouli Swami Maharaj, and last week also the Katha of Narasimhadev from His Grace Vrindanath Prabhu. So we are all absorbed in this beautiful Narasimha Leela. So what actually happens to us when we hear these beautiful pastimes, when we watch this beautiful enaction of the pastimes? It's described that two things happen to two kinds of people. It is said that for a liberated soul, for a pure devotee, this is nectar. However, for the conditioned soul, this same Krishna Katha serves as medicine. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar Pandit in the Tota Gopinath temple, they used to discuss the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narasimha Leela, and their hearts would erupt with emotions. And once they finished reading this pastimes, Mahaprabhu would ask Gadadhar Pandit, and by the way, they are Radha and Krishna themselves. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the golden avatara, and Radharani as Gadadhar Pandit. They would discuss this, and Mahaprabhu would say, let's hear it again. And they would hear this whole pastimes again and again and again, 108 times. That is how much they would relish these beautiful pastimes. My spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, every evening, despite his dilapidated body, he still gives Chaitanya Katha every evening. When devotee Amog Leela Prabhu asked him in 2007 on the Yatra, Maharaj, you are asking everyone to hear these pastimes. Have you read them? And Maharaj said, I have read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat 108 times long ago. So these great devotees, they're absorbed in Krishna Leela, in Krishna's pastimes. Syad Krishna Nama Charita Adi. The names of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna. Prabhupada, like how we are sitting, would sit in the audience and he would watch this Narasimha Leela. I spoke personally to Bhumadev Prabhu, who's right now in Detroit, and he had played Narasimhadev. And Prabhupada was in the audience. This was in London. And when he played Narasimhadev, Prabhupada jumped up on his seat. His eyes were wide. He started clapping his hands like a little boy. And he was completely absorbed in that. And he loved this drama performance. And he actually gave mercy to Bhumadev Prabhu. And he said, we need these performances in all the temples to develop this attraction to Krishna Leela. Rupa Goswami, he would hear Krishna's holy names. And he would say that Na jane janita kiyabdir amrita Krishnetin varnadvai. I do not know kiyabdir amrita, how much nectar is present in these two syllables, Krishna. Tunde tandavane rate mitunate trundavane labde. I want thousands of tongues, I want thousands of ears. So these great souls, they're experiencing so much ecstasy. However, when I listen to this, I feel, oh, I've already heard this before. And that same ecstasy might not be there in the conditioned souls. How do we know that? Krishna says, Machitta Madgata Prana Bodayantascha Parasparam. Always these devotees speak about Krishna, discuss Krishna's pastimes, names. Parasparanu Kathanam. Pavanam Bhagavat Yasha, Yasha, the great Yasha, fame, glory of Krishna they discuss. But us, talking to myself, conditioned souls, when we don't taste this nectar, what happens? This same Krishna Katha serves as medicine. So it's a beautiful sunny day. We walk into the temple, and what happens? Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Srila Prabhupada, they do a quick checkup and they say, there's a problem. And few weeks back, I went to the doctor. I had a little stomach pain, and the doctor said, very bad. Blood results looks bad. And he said, fibroscan, ultrasound, colonoscopy, endoscopy, and everything. And he said, fatty liver, very bad. So similarly, we come here thinking, we're okay, we're praying to the Lord. But the Guru Sadhu Shastra say, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsera. Will we survive, Prabhupada? Prabhupada says, very difficult. You're stuck in this ocean of material world, in the cycle of birth and death. What do we do? Prabhupada says, Sunday feast. You have to take the medicine. Medicine 12:30 to 1 of Krishna Kirtan and 1 to 2 Krishna Katha. This is your official CVS. How many of us have been to CVS pharmacies? Extra gulab jamun, if anybody knows what's the full form of CVS. Anybody knows? I googled it, even I didn't know. I think it was Consumer Value Store. That's actually the name of CVS. But this is the real CVS. Constantly validate that you are the spirit soul. CVS. So devotees are validating. Prabhuji, Mataji, you are a spirit soul, having a material experience. You are a part and parcel of Krishna. The goal of life is to serve Krishna. That is what is the medicine. And what happens? When we serve Krishna, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So Krishna is like the root. He's the root, we are all to its leaves, branches. He's the stomach, we are all the fingers. Prabhupada says sometimes the fingers go on strike. Why should we take the food and put it in our mouth to go to the stomach? I want to enjoy. And they say, now we will not put the food in the stomach anymore. After a few days, the fingers start getting weak and they have a meeting. What happened? And they discuss, oh, actually nourishing the stomach was nourishing us. So serving Krishna is the source of our real happiness. That is what devotees speak in Krishna Katha. So we are like, okay, that is very good. We are parts and parcels of Krishna. So what do? We need the medicine, right? And that medicine is what you are being administered now, right? When you go to CVS, you pick up a tablet, an antibiotic. How do you take the tablet? You take it with water, right? You take water, which is the anupan, and the medicine is aushadhi, the tablet itself. So you drink water, and then the medicine is so small, you pop in the tablet. Similarly, in Nrsimha Leela, we know how Hiranyakashipu performed great penance in the Mandara mountains, how he became the Swami of these three worlds. We know the whole pastime. And finally, he's tormenting Prahlad. Satyam vidhatum nija bhartya bhashitam vyaptum cha bhutheshu akileshu chanma mana adbhuta rupamudvan sthambe sabhayam namrigam namanusham. Krishna appeared as Nrsimhadev, and Nrsimhadev appears, kills, tears upon Hiranyakashipu, delivers Prahlad, and he disappears. So the appearance of the Lord is like that tablet. The whole pastime is Anupan. How Dhruva Maharaj goes to the forest, performs penance for so long, Anupan. And finally the Lord appears. And Dhruva Stuti, he worships the Lord, and the Lord disappears. So this is the real medicine. The Aushada for this age. So we are taking this medicine and we are thinking, is this really working? So what is the prescription? How much of this should we take? The Bhagavatam says, Sada Sevya, Srimad Bhagavata Katha. Yatra Shravana Matrena Harichittam Shamashraye. Always, every moment. Not possible every day. Not possible at least once a week on a Sunday. Right? So that is the prescription, and gradually it will work, and we will be freed from the cycle of birth and death, and we'll be able to go back home, back to Godhead without a doubt. So that is what we are witnessing now. So there is less time, so I will keep this session short. We will talk about the lessons we learned from Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, maybe 2 or 3 lessons, and something we can practically use in our day-to-day lives. So all of us have watched videos on YouTube, right? Some of us have posted some videos on YouTube. What happens? One of the only things, the first thing that people say is that press the bell icon. Subscribe, share. Right? Everyone wants their videos to become viral. Why? Maybe there are social media marketers trying to monetize it. There might be some people trying to get fame, popularity. And there might be some who are giving some good message, Krishna consciousness, for the benefit of everyone. But they want their message to be shared. But how amazing is this? That Prahlad Maharaj, what he spoke millions of years ago, is even now so valid. It's being shared in Katha every year, every day. So it's described that Prahlad, we know the story, how he was tormented by his own father. However, the first lesson we learned from Prahlad, as Prahlad was thrown from the cliffs, he was locked in a door with venomous serpents, which had poison in their fangs. Great Diggajai, huge elephants were sent to trample Prahlad. But he continued to be compassionate preacher. He was still speaking to his friends. He never gave up speaking Krishna Katha or giving Krishna consciousness. That is something that is very, very dear to the Lord. It's funny, when I was in college, Manipal, it happened that I came across Krishna consciousness. I was enamored. Prabhupada's BTG magazine. Who have seen the BTG magazine? Back to Godhead, right? And the devotee said, yes, this is the purpose of your life, to understand Krishna, to become a devotee. I took that magazine. They should spread this message. I gave it to my friends in the hostel. They laughed at me. And I thought, okay, and the devotees were saying, Prahlad Maharaj spoke to all of his classmates, so even you have to inspire others. After a few days, I went back to their room, and they were all sitting together and discussing. I asked them, so what are you speaking about? What's going on? What's up? And they said, we are all making plans to go BTG. I thought, wow, what I spoke has entered their hearts like the friends of Prahlad Maharaj. And one of my friends, he said, oh, sorry, don't misunderstand. They're going back to Goa. Every holiday we go to Goa, they enjoy the beaches of Goa. And that was their BTG. So whatever we can, right? We don't need to be pundits, knowing all the verses, all the scriptures. If we know one sentence about Krishna consciousness, we can share that. That is what Prahlad Maharaj did. He called his friends together and he said, Kaumarad, Acharad Pragyo, anyone who is intelligent from the very beginning of one's life, Dharma Bhagavatadiha, Durlabam Manusham Deha, this human life you have gotten is very, very rare. After millions of lifetimes, we get this one human form of life. Don't waste this, oh my dear friends, my dear classmates, in just trying to enjoy like how you have enjoyed in the other species of life. Enjoyment is just senses coming in touch with the sense objects. Just like you don't go to Krishna and ask Krishna, too much happiness. I had so much fun this whole week. I'm feeling so happy. Give me some misery. Nobody asks, but still misery comes. Similarly, happiness also will come by that, my dear friends. Don't waste this time in only running after punar charvita charvananam, just chewing what you have chewed in the other forms of life. He is speaking Krishna Katha. And it's described, Krishna is very pleased by this. In the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that my dearest devotees are those who always preach this message of Krishna consciousness. Anyone heard the name of Gagat Baniyatyan? There is one more devotee. Circus Ohanjanian. They were imprisoned for 2 years in the worst prisons of Russia, USSR, for speaking Krishna consciousness, for spreading the message of Bhagavad Gita, for being devotees. We take it for granted. For 730 days, Sarvabhaumana Prabhu, Gagged Prabhu, who was gagged then, he ate only dry bread with some salt. If you don't have that book, you should get this book, Salted Bread. Tears won't flow, blood will flow from your eyes. If you see their dedication for Krishna consciousness, to produce saliva, they would put some salt. 2 years, that's all they ate. But they would not give up Krishna consciousness. There were 100 devotees in Russia. Today, there are more than 100 temples, more than 100 Rath Yatras. If you go to Vrindavan, it's filled with Russian devotees. Why? Don't try to please Krishna. Act in such a way that Krishna is pleased by you. Sarkis Prabhu, 28 days before he was released, he left his body in the prison. How? How glorious! The bed sheet that was there for him, he made that into a dhoti. He asked the prison guard for a blade. He shaved his head. With toothpaste, he put tilak on. With bread, he dried it and made beads. With the newspaper, he made a garland. With Manasa Seva, he offered it to the Lords, Radha Krishna, and put it on himself. He chanted the holy names. He was having TB, tuberculosis. The doctor had told him, and the prison ward, that he should be given milk and potatoes. He was denied. Only bread. His body was dilapidated. He sat in Padmasana, chanting the holy names. Tears flowing from his eyes, left his body. This is what they had to go through. This is the sacrifice that we are enjoying here. This wonderful prasadam, these wonderful devotees, what they went through. I stayed for 8 years in the ashram in Detroit, and one of my ashram mates was His Grace Kapila Prabhu. He was very eccentric. I remember in 2008, I was applying for jobs. I just graduated from TOEFL, and I was not getting any calls. Of course, there was recession then. And one day, Kapila Prabhu comes to me and he says, "Who is this Arvind Sharma? I have thrown so many letters of his." I said, "Prabhuji, that's me. I've been applying for jobs." And he said, "You're Advaita Pran." I said, "Yes, but my Karmi name is Arvind Sharma." But of course, we had so much gratitude, love for him. He joined the movement when he was very young. His father was a multimillionaire, but he took up Krishna consciousness. His parents tried to deprogram him, and he became very eccentric. He never married. He was always in the temple serving. But what amazing sacrifice. I remember my first winter in 2008. He got me shoes. Prabhupada's disciple saying, "Prabhuji, your lotus feet must be cold. Please take this." I'm like, "Prabhuji, please. Your humility is breaking my heart." These are the devotees who built ISKCON. That is the mood of these devotees, because of which we are sitting here. That is the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, Vasudev Datta in Chaitanya Leela. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was glorifying Vasudev Datta, Vasudev Datta says, "Oh Lord," this is after the Rath Yatra ceremonies where devotees are going back to Bengal after 4 months staying in Jagannath Puri. They are telling, "My Lord, please give me mercy." Mahaprabhu is glorifying his devotees. Vasudev Datta says, "I want one thing, my Lord. Please, please, my Lord. One benediction. Please deliver every person in this whole universe and put their karma on my head. Let me go and suffer in the hellish planets eternally. But let everybody be delivered." Mahaprabhu's voice falters. Tears flows from his eyes. And he says, "You are breaking my heart, O Vasudev. But it is not surprising that you are Sakshat Prahlad who has appeared. And that's why you have such intense compassion. Just by your desire, all of the living entities are delivered." And it's described, the Acharya has described that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, by the desire, every blade of grass, every living entity went back to the spiritual world, and this world was populated by newer souls. So that is Prahlad Maharaj. So preaching, whatever little bit we can, spreading the message, giving some prasadam. So this is one lesson. The second lesson, maybe the last lesson we will learn, is how Prahlad Maharaj was so tolerant despite so many problems. His own father trying to kill him every moment. He didn't complain. He tolerated it. How? By the deep root of his bhakti, of his devotion. He says, Manye dhanabi jana rupa tapausujas teja prabhava bala paurusha bhuti yoga naradhanaya bhavanti parasya pumso bhaktya tutoshi bhagavan gajayutapaya manye. Oh my Lord, I understand that not by anything external, by name, fame, your great aristocratic nature, your intellect, your way of memorizing verses, your speech, by anything external, Krishna is never pleased. Bhaktya tushyati kevalam natu gunair bhakti priyo madhava. Krishna is only happy by the devotion in your heart. So the lesson we have to learn is that are we deriving our pleasure, our happiness from devotion and love for Krishna, or are we deriving this happiness from different relationships, different situations, different desires that we have in this world? If we are, then it is temporary. For a little bit of happiness, we will have to suffer a lot of distress. In India, we have gone to sari stores, right? Mataji's go and they say, sari come, they show one sari. And they're like, no, that sari. Right? Boy, he shows the next sari. No, that color, no, this material. After 20, 30 saris, no, nothing is good. I tell you. So that person, is he upset? Yes, but not too upset also, because where does he derive his salary from? His manager, the store person. That is the person who pays him the money, not these Matajis. So at work for Prabhuji's, right, we go and we have, most of us IT jobs, new IBM suite gets released and then they change it to Colibra and then to Tableau and Power BI, so many different platforms. Do we get stressed out? Just now I implemented this project. Now we're changing the whole technology again. No, we think, oh good, we have job security, right? Why? Because we are deriving a pleasure from the paycheck, from a bonus, from what we derive from this, right? Similarly, if we are deriving our real happiness from Krishna, then there might be ups or downs or reversals or problems or issues. It does not matter. We can still be satisfied in that situation. So Prahlad Maharaj, right, who was actually deriving bhakti, the happiness of bhakti, in devotion to Narasimhadev Bhagwan, he was actually so happy. His senses were completely controlled and he had full dependence on Narasimhadev. But on the other hand, if we look at the life of Hiranyakashipu, Sir Ekarat, one single emperor for the three worlds. Sir Ittam Nirchita Kakub, in the all directions, Sir Ekarat, one single emperor. He was ruling over, and in his house, who was cutting sabji, great demigods, with one eyebrow of Indradev. If he raises his eyebrow, whole Vrindavan was submerged by flood. And that same Indra, by one eyebrow movement of Hiranyakashipu, Indradev would completely come and become his servant. Tumburu, great Gandharvas, Narad Muni himself is saying in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, I used to go and offer prayers to Hiranyakashipu. That was how powerful Hiranyakashipu was. But na triptya ajitendriyaha, he was still unsatisfied. Although he had every material opulence. Why? Na triptya. Prahlad Maharaj actually speaks something which is very heavy. It is difficult to hear. It is difficult to speak. I don't have the authority to speak. But I have to, because that is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Prahlad says that Tripyanti neha kripana bahutu dukha bhajan kandotiman manasijam vishahetna dira. Yan maithunadi sukhamete You will never be satisfied if even the highest pleasure, even if it is the attraction of the opposite sex, that will never give satisfaction for anybody. Because kripana, we are just being very miserly. This human form of life is meant for God realization. He says, stop chasing after the same thing you're chasing behind. In every lifetime, this boy would cry, Laila, Laila. And all the neighbors came, what happened? He said, oh, I loved her so much. But she didn't love me back. Itna pyar kiya, fir bhi nahi ki. Then they all got her. And they got her married. After a few months, he's again shouting, Laila, Laila. So what happened? She's still at home. He says, yes. Then why are you crying for her? He said, oh, Lelo, take her away. He said, love was blind, but marriage, it was my eye opener. I'm happily married, it's only a joke. I have in-laws here. But the point being, I hope my wife is not here. No, but it's only a joke. I heard from hopefully love from both. The point being, when it's very heavy, we have to add some humor. What we are running after life, the human life is meant for understanding Krishna, for realizing Krishna, and that really gives us happiness. Otherwise, we will be a kripana, we will be a miserly person. We have the great wealth of realizing Krishna. Brahma Saukhyam Anantam, Rishabdev says, that Brahma Saukhyam, that is waiting for us. Spiritual happiness, bliss. But it needs a little bit of tapa, tapo divyam putrada. Oh, my dear sons, perform some tapasya. And then we see how, although a person like Hiranyakashipu might have everything in this world, one little thing. Yeah. So we'll stop in 5 minutes after this, and then we'll go for the drama. I have a deadline. So the last point was, so although they have everything in this world, right? All kinds of happiness. If one problem comes, they cannot take it. One problem. Do we know how many sons Hiranyakashipu had? 4. Very good. Yes. So one son. All the demigods, all the rishis, all the yakshas, all the gandharvas, all the kimpurushas, every living entity in these 3 worlds were subservient to Hiranyakashipu. But one boy, his own son, was not accepting him as a supreme. So his complete peace went away. He was in complete anxiety. Even Ravan, for that matter. Nahisa Sabhavajna Swasthona Lankeshwara Sita Rallaka Balla Bhakna Manasa Swasthona Lankeshwara. Ravan had every opulence, but Sita Rallaka Balla Bhakna Manasa, his mind was completely disturbed by hearing of the beauty of Krishna, of Sita's eyebrows, as described by Sister Surpanaka. One thing completely disturbed. So what's the lesson we learned from this? The lesson we learn is that if we have one of these 3 mentalities, then we will never be happy. What are the mentalities? Number 1, controllership. I have to control my life. I control my spouse. I control my circumstance, my people around me, my job, my boss, my everything has to be in control. If that control goes away, then which it will, because we are not the controllers. We can't even control going to the restroom. So if we have this controllership mentality, we will never be happy. Secondly, if we are super perfectionists, everything has to be perfect. As they say, mera job 10 on 10, my boss 10 on 10, mera salary 10 on 10, my children 10 on 10, my wife 10 on 10, my neighbor 10 on 10, my neighbor's wife 10 on 10. Everything has to be 10 on 10. If that is your level of perfection, then of course we will be distressed, we will be miserable. We should accept Krishna's plan. Easy to say, I'm telling this to myself. But being Either control freaks or extra perfectionists or enjoyment maniacs. It, like in college they say, "अरे मजा आना चाहिए यार, मजा आना चाहिए. जॉब करेंगे तो मजा, शादी करेंगे बस मजा के लिए. मजा 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 मजा. Everything has to be only for enjoyment." If not, अरे यार C, C++, Java पढ़ के मर जावा. No enjoyment. No, something has to be done for duty. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that which is pleasure in the beginning ultimately becomes poison in the end. That is Rajogun. But some things that is not very pleasurable. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Netflix has a nice movie that released. When my roads get over, right? I only want happiness. If that is where we are rooted in, then even the smallest things might give a lot of problem. Like we have a 6-session, 7-session course, right? About introduction to Bhagavad Gita and all. Even Yugal Kishore Prabhu is now giving those courses. Many devotees offer those courses. What is the first course? Who am I? Before that, Quest for Happiness. So when Prabhuji gave the class Quest for Happiness, and the daughter-in-law had come with the in-laws. And they said, Prabhuji कुछ बोलिए, मेरा बहू है हमेशा दुखी रहती है. So this Prabhuji said, oh okay, हो सकता है. शायद पति पहले शादी तो पहले बहुत होता है very loving, but now he doesn't care. नहीं प्रभुजी, मेरा पति तो देवता समान है. He's very amazing. Oh ठीक है. Then your in-laws, माँ बाप तो माँ बाप होते हैं. In-laws कहते नहीं ये in-laws तो माँ बाप से भी बहुत अच्छे. Okay, तो बच्चे कलयुग का बच्चे. नहीं kids are very good. Then your health, घटनों का दर्द, कमर दर्द, जैसे नहीं आपको दबा दो पूरा, आपका जान निकल रहा नहीं माता जी. Everything is good, financial, that is good. Then problem क्या है आपका? She's like नहीं actually my husband is telling me move to Texas, but I want to stay here. My friends are here. So Prabhu was saying that everything is perfect. One little thing happens, then the happiness is gone. You may have a nice meal, nice feast. Then one thing is stuck on one tooth. Where does the tongue go? To that tooth only. The Chanakya Pandit says practically that one should be satisfied with one's wealth, with one's food, and with one's spouse. So practically when we are satisfied and we derive pleasure from Krishna, then we will actually be very happy. So there are more lessons, but I know in interest of time, I don't want to be chastised by such a Prabhu who is playing Chankhazi. So I will stop here. Please forgive me for smoking. Jai Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki Jai. अरे प्रेशर पैक करके देखते चला पड़ेगा. कुछ बहुत हेवी था तो सोचा कुछ जोक्स करेंगे. हमें तो पता है बट मैं नहीं समझ